right, good afternoon. Welcome to Jason's World of Insightful Things. I'm Jason, and as promised, I am going to do a video today about the fun world of variable frequency drives, also known as VFDs, also known as freak drives. So some of the vernacular in HVAC and electrical world is kind of weird, like crack units. And somebody's like, hey, go see this crack unit. And I'm thinking somebody's smoking crack rock, and it's not. It's a computer room air conditioner. Or DX cooling. What's DX cooling? Well, it's direct expansion. So in this world, we're dealing with freak drives, VFDs, or variable frequency drives. So in front of me, I have a Yaskawa Z1000. And I've taken it apart, brand new, out of the box, never been used. And this frequency drive is used to control things. So you say, well, that's neat. What does that mean? So we had a special and a video about motor control centers. So motor control centers, as we learned in the video earlier and we discovered, was basically a glorified on-off switch that you can wire to different things, like that building automation system that's right behind us here. So if you have a look at that, that's the brain of the building. So that brain of the building, called the BAS, Building Automation System, controls things like freak drives. It controls things like variable, VAVs up in the ceiling, variable air volume vents, and a multitude of other things, as well as sensing what's going on in the building. So it's basically like our nervous system. So this is more like the nervous system that tells the muscles what to do. So just like in a lot of people's houses, you have dimmer switches where you can start off with the brightest light you want when you turn the switch on, and you can dim it down, or vice versa. A frequency drive does a variety of things. The first thing it does is it provides a soft start for a motor. So you're like, what's that? So I'm going to show you over here, if you just quickly follow me. I'm going to show you a machine that does not have a VFD. So right now, here's our motor control center. It's got all the guts, and pump number 2 right here, well, this is running at 100%, okay? So if I turn this off, it stops. If I turn it back on, it starts at 100% of what it can start. So if you look inside of here, all you have is a motor contactor, a transformer, the line and load powers, the building automation sensor, and the relay to tell it what to do, which operates the low voltage side of this coil. Okay? So not real complex. What I'm going to show you is how the wonderful world of variable frequency drives improves our day. So when you start an inductive load like that motor, it sends shock waves through your system when that starts up. The amperage goes to full load rated amperage. So if the normal amps, I'm just making this up, but if it's 50 amps normal, it'll jack up to 60, 65, 70 amps until that motor gets to full speed. Then it'll start backing itself down. What's really cool about the variable frequency drive is this is set up to start it very, 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 very slowly. So I'm not going to say this as fact, but from what I know, variable frequency drives started probably somewhere in the 1950s, more as what's called a soft start motor system. So they did come out with technology that could ramp up with a series of different circuits and capacitors, a more analog way to get a motor to start slowly instead of just 100%. So when you're in things like giant pump rooms, steel mills, things that have just monster sized motors that are running on 1600 volts, 1200 volts, 4600 volts, you just don't want to start that at 100%. So the same was beholden for, you know, the lower power, the low power at 480 3-phase, 208 3-phase. And they said, you know, we could really perfect this technology by making a variable frequency drive. So that being said, this is the interface, or basically the control panel. So this is what we will use to basically control what happens. So you have your auto, stop, hand, And hand is no different than if you're on a motor control center. So you see the switch where you have hand, off, auto. This is the same thing. So if for whatever reason you lose your parameters, but you still have your circuit board intact, you can hit hand, and this will slowly ramp up to 100%. But you won't have any of your settings for what you want it to do, like sensors, differential pressure, that kind of stuff built in. There's a little battery on the back that in times during preventative maintenance it's important to change that little, I think it's a 2032 wafer battery. And all that does is it uses an RJ45 connection right there, and that RJ45 connection basically snaps into this board right here. So now that's what that would look like if this panel was in front of it. Okay? All this panel is the main processor or the CPU. Okay? There's printer cable assembly here that you can put different outputs to. Here's all your, basically you can put your variables in there for sensors. You can put pressure switches, air volume switches, whatever it is that this frequency drive you have it connected to. You can put all these parameters. So now all of a sudden, instead of doing differential pressure for water, because that's what we set these to for, you know, how much water pressure do I really need so that pump, like in the room next door, isn't pumping 100%. I can put pressure sensors in there. The bottom line is you could, on these sensors right here, put your inputs, whether that's a dry contactor of normally open closed, or you could put a voltage range contactor that responds in millivolt amps, millivolts, all the way to 24 volts AC. You could put a variety of different sensors in here is my point. And then that way this becomes integrated. So it can be standalone. I don't need a BAS to run this. I can just run it off of the local parameters. Or I can hook the BAS into this and I can see it over on my dashboard. So if I go over to the dashboard and I show you what I'm talking about, I'm going to go to my cooling tower loop. Okay? I have two frequency drives on my fans. So if we look at the fans, these are the fans that are outside the building providing cooling for the water that's evaporative in these towers. You'll notice that my speed says 0 and 0. As the temperature ranges increase on this loop for the supply and return, the computer will tell the frequency drive, which I'll show you in a little bit, to speed up or slow down based on how we have the parameters set. And the parameters we have is we want our loop to run at 80 degrees Fahrenheit. So at 80 degrees, when this temperature here and this temperature here get close to 80 degrees, you'll start seeing these frequency drives adding power to the fans to increase the fan speed. That's how we use these. Because otherwise, if we didn't, these puppies would be running at 100% all the time, and we'd be wasting energy by the boatloads. And we don't want to do that. As an example of what we're talking about, just in this building alone, it's approximately a 6-story office building with a 7-story penthouse and a lower level, so 9 stories all in all. We were able to cut the power usage year over year about 50% just by putting that on a schedule and making sure that the parameters for these frequency drives that are in the field are correct. So these frequency drives are just such an asset for us. So now that we've got all this behind us, let's look at the main guts of this puppy. So this is it. This is the money shot right here. So a lot of times with variable frequency drives, you'll hear a lot of high-pitched squealing, hissing, different things like that. And what that is these capacitors right here. So the whole basic function of the frequency drive is to take alternating current and modify the wave and square the wave. So right now, and I'll show you this on a diagram here in a second, you'll see that the alternating current looks like this on a basic graph. These capacitors, diodes, and a collection of different transformers and inverters basically take that alternating current, square the wave, so the wave goes like this. And instead of a rounded pitch, it squares it, and that allows the motor to be able to run at slower speeds. And we do that by changing the hertz. And what we're doing is we can slow the hertz down. So for instance, if a motor runs at 60 hertz in the United States, 50 hertz in Canada and other places, we can make it 30 hertz. And when we take it down to 30 hertz, that's incrementally a lower percentage of the total available hertz. So what that does is, in turn, it slows the motor down. So I can start the motor at 5 hertz, I could start the motor at 10 hertz, I could start the motor at 50 hertz, and whatever I want to do to program it, that's how I'll run it. So that's what this wad of electronics does. And I'm not going to get into the exact science of it. That's not my expertise. I'm not an electrical engineer. But from a field practicality use, you see a lot of different capacitors in here. You see a lot of transistors. You see transformers. And then on the back, this is where it starts getting really hot. You see some heat sinks. You have 2 transformer inverters. You have a giant heat sink on the back of the circuit board, and then you have what I think is a harmonic coil. And that'll take and transfer the energy from one state to another as far as alternating current. So I'll show you that graph here right now. So bottom line is, when you put it together, you get it out of the box. And it'll look a little bit like this. So that's how the back looks. And then I took this wire out just to get this apart. And that'll sit on top of that like that. This will sit on top of that like that. And that little guy goes in there like that. So that's basically what it's going to look like. So let's take a tour here and I'll show you some of these in action. Okay, so now we're in a different building, an older building, but I wanted to particularly highlight these 2 frequency drives for your enjoyment. So right now, there's a variety of different frequency drives in the market. ABB happens to be one of my favorites. It has that module just like I showed you, so I can literally pull this out if I want to. It's got all the integrated circuitry behind. It's just a bigger version of it. So you can buy these based on what your horsepower rating is, the volts that you need. You size them basically to the job that you need. So a preventative maintenance on this could include making sure that all your connections are tight on the wires, that your fans, like right here, there's a cooling fan and it's blowing pretty hot air, but you see all this dogwood all over the place because this is not a very clean mechanical room. So what I like to do is I dust all this off, I take this cover off right here if I can get this out. I don't know if there's screws in it or not, but bottom line is I take this all apart and I blow it off with an air gun or a duster or something, you know, that you're not going to hurt the circuitry with. But right here, if you look, it tells you a variety of things. So right now we're at 46.5 hertz. So the maximum hertz on this is 60. So if this was at 100%, it would be 60 hertz or right around there. If you want to save energy, you can set this to 55 hertz and you get a 5 hertz benefit 24/7 as long as this thing is at 100% setting. So what that means is if 60 hertz is your maximum output range and you're at 55 hertz and that you tell this is 100%, so you have that 5 hertz basically savings, you get that savings just by setting your hertz down from 60 to 55. In this case, we're using this based on pressures. So this hertz right now, the way this is set, is based on what kind of differential pressures I have on a magnet helix. Okay, so I have wires going into this with remote pressure sensors that are telling this that this building needs 46 hertz of speed to do what it has to do with the air conditioning system. If we look over on this Emerson drive right here, here's a different one. It's much smaller. It runs a smaller horsepower motor. But if I wanted to, I could change that and I could dial it up And I could dial this up to whatever hertz I wanted to. I could dial it up to 35 hertz. Then hit that back. And now this drive will go to 35.9 hertz. I put that in there because our building automation system right now is all blown up, so we're going to have to work on that. Might be another video. But I basically have this 20% or thereabout less than this. So this is my supply fan. This is my return fan pulling air back from the building. So I want to have about a 20% differential, this being the lower of the two, because I have to not suck my ducts closed if I have too much fan speed on this. So the good rule of thumb is 15 to 20% less than your supply. I'm going to go put this back to 30. So if you want to see me dial it back, it's this easy. I just dial it right back down to 30 hertz. So again, this motor is a 60 hertz motor, right? So if you do the math, which I'm not going to do because I don't have my calculator with me. Bottom line is, I'm going to make this go back down to where I want it to be, and there's no automation in this. I'm doing this in manual. A lot of frequency drives like this one is kind because it has this legend right here of what all these numbers mean. So minimum speed, maximum speed, how fast I want it to go up in speed, so when I turn it on, it doesn't just go to 100%. I can basically set all the parameters here. I don't like doing this, but you'll see a lot of the manuals just laying around. That to me is not a good way to do things. So I like to put the manuals back in the desk downstairs. Here's the ABB manual. These are really a dry read and a little bit of engineering techie type stuff, but there is good information in it. So these are basically what controls this. So let me show you in here what these control. So follow me. So this whole fan system is what that bigger ABB is controlling right now. So this is my direct expansion wall. It's basically got 4 zones in it. I know that because I can come over and look at these TXV. Right now I got a zone there, another zone behind there, zone, and a zone. So I got all kinds of zones. So if you come over here, towards me over here, you'll see this motor, and this is really nice and cool to the touch. I got good airflow through it. Looks okay. That's because I got that frequency drive helping me out deciding how fast this is going to run. So that's pretty much how all this stuff works. And in the other room, there's the return fan, just like this, but a little bit smaller. And that, my friends, is another fine episode of Jason's World of Insightful Things. I'm Jason, that's Terry, and we'll see you on the next episode really soon. Take care.